everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Healing for the Soul. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, and for those of you who are with us live on Facebook, on Healing for the Soul, on Facebook again, in my Facebook page. So today I have a special guest. Her name is Pantea Kalhor, and she is going to be talking with us about PTSD and fertility coach and how the two play together, in addition to being a mom. So she is one of the people that I've been following as to how to do the podcast as far as like StreamYard and doing everything. So like me, as I'm sure like what most people do, is that we follow success. So I see Pantea as very successful, how she's doing things. I'm following along. So today we're going to be talking more about Pantea and what she's been doing as a mom to make things happen as well. So Pantea, let's get your perspective. So what I've already introduced you. What is your specialty exactly?
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much. That's kind of you. Thank you. I do fertility coaching. I am also podcaster, as you already introduced. I have a YouTube channel, so I have 5 shows on my YouTube channel. From Monday to Friday, I have auto promotion show, fertility empowerment show. On Wednesday, I have Job Reinvented show, and Thursday, PTSD self healing show, and Friday, I have Green Healing show. I also am doing the publishing as well, so I'm a publisher. I have a company called Ace Choice Publishing and Branding. So I do publishing, help authors to publish their book and distribute it in libraries, and I also help them to promote their book, because that's a part of distributing. If you want to be successful in as a writer, is not only writing a book, you have to know how to distribute it and how to promote yourself. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, that makes sense. That's very helpful to know, because I know like that's something that myself, I'm just like, I don't know if I should write a book. I don't know how many people would actually read it or not. But I'm like, the stories that I've got, I'm like, I need a lifetime, not a lifetime, but it's what is it's the Lifetime series. I need like a little mini series. I think most of us could though.
But I
So
love your
how
chapter in Naturally Conceived. You've done a great job, and I love what you wrote there. So
well, I appreciate it. I know, like I was like telling people, I'm like, yeah, it was last minute, but I did it. I still did it. That was the thing that I'm like, I'm proud of myself that I did it, which I'm very proud, or not, I should say proud, but I'm very glad and honored that you asked me to be in the book like last minute, because you had just said you were going to send it out to publishing right away. We just met, and I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it quick. But I did it. And I'm like, I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that you asked me to be a part of it too. Then actually conceived. I have it out here in my office, and I let people know. I'm like, this is what all that I've done, but also you get all these amazing ways to help with fertility. So it's not
yes,
just
thank
me,
you.
you get everybody. And to me, like that's the best way to help anyone, is like when you get those different ideas and then you take with what works and run with it.
Yes, thank you.
So um I know you have done you've worked with PTSD and fertility coaching. How long have you been doing that?
It's not too long. It's about 2 years since I had my baby girl. It's been 3 years, 3.5. I have her, but I was thinking about doing something out of my actual background, which was IT and project management. So at the end of the day, I try to help others to have the natural conception because that was the thing that I was struggling for more than 2 years. And then after helping, I say, oh, this is not enough. I need to get more education and I need to have more solid business or more solid structure to help others. So that's why I ended up educating myself and doing the fertility coaching. And I also have, as you said, I also wrote a book about called Naturally Conceived. Then I have another book which coming in September about the PTSD, because I believe emotional um, stress and burnout really affect your fertility. As you know, if you look at the chart for all the hormones, estrogen, progesterone, you have a peak for estrogen and you have a peak for progesterone, right?
Mhm.
So the only thing can disturb this peak is having a stress. So, and you can actually talk about the stress in different ways. So, what I'm saying, stress is not only emotionally disturb or emotionally be sad or in a hurry. You can actually have a lot of stressors like having unhealthy food or something out of your nature which is not part of you. Let's say you have watermelon, but you cannot have let's say ice cream in the winter because winter is cold and you actually slow down your digestion by having ice cream. There are lots of things, there are lots of part of this fertility that is not really related to your reproductive functions because everything seems normal for many people, right? But there
Mhm.
are not only symptoms, there are lots of underlying layers like PTSD, post-traumatic stress, and you may have lot of thing on your plate. You're busy with work and you waste your energy and time in something that is not really good for your health. So that's why I try to to help and find those energy waster and see go through the full assessment for everybody who is interested and find out the all the underlying issues um, beside the fertility.
Which that makes sense because a lot of those underlying issues does affect the fertility. It affects a lot more than that even. Like it affects your overall health. It affects, our weight. And I actually learned that last week. I didn't even like know that for about weight, especially for us women, that's why we carry our weight right in the stomach area the most is because our bodies, it doesn't matter if you're pregnant or not, your body puts the weight there from the cortisol, from the extra stress, from everything, because it's in that fight mode and that protect mode of we got to protect the baby. Even if you're not pregnant, I'm like, that explains a lot about me. That's where I'm putting all the stress. So then, of course, yeah, then that would affect the fertility, like what you were talking about, like how all of that comes together. And
Yes.
that's the part that a lot of us don't even realize. And like I didn't even realize it, like how all of that affects. That's why when I had to stop and think, well, like, how did I become pregnant? Like, what was I doing? And then I'm like, now I know, and now I can reverse it, and like, okay, now I know what to do. I know how to help others to do it. So that sounds like that's what you did too when you were having your daughter in that process of being able
Yes.
to achieve that conception.
You actually have more experience than me because you have like 5 kids.
Yeah. I've been pregnant.
Yeah,
I've been pregnant 6 times, and I'm just like sitting here and
yeah,
I'm like, well, what
yeah.
gets
You
me?
did. No, I only have one, and I'm gonna just keep to that one. But that's anybody different. Like anybody's different, and they everybody can have their own decision. But having the baby is not like being a parent is not really easy responsibility. So
No.
you have to be prepared. So you have to see if you really not only financially but also It takes a lot of time and effort. Right now, our house is so silent because my baby is with my husband and outside. So other than that, it's not really easy with the 3-year-old, right?
That yeah, no, I got like a 3-year-old. I got yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that because I'm just like, yeah, I got a lot of them, but I'm like, there's days, I tell you right now, the best way to cure my perfectionism that I used to have was the kids. Because now I'm like, this happened, and that happened, and I'm just like, whatever.
yeah,
I've learned to just go with the flow, but I honestly think like that's like been the best part about being a parent though too,
yeah.
is the kids have taught me more about life than what I ever thought that I knew. Like there was a difference. Like I took care of kids before. I worked in a daycare. I worked in a group home before having kids. You know, I did a lot of different things with working in daycare and taking care of kids. But then when I had my own kids, I'm like, okay,
That's
this is
different.
okay. Yeah. It's well, yeah, because the doctor said I'd never be able to have children. But then, yeah, when they started coming, I'm like, okay, this is different. There's days I'm
Yeah,
like, am I gonna make it? But you know what? It's okay though, because it's one of those things I think a lot of women are scared, like, can they even have the career and have the baby at the same time? And it's like, this is where it's helpful, I believe, especially for our listeners and our viewers, is to really see that you've got one, but you're doing a like you're a podcaster, you're an
yeah, I
author,
do a
you're a
lot.
publisher, you do
Yeah.
a lot. And that's just with one. And that was after your daughter was born.
Yes, everything was after her because I have to, I had to adjust my life. I had a very, very busy life before. I was a project management on demand. I was on call all the time. And that with the traffic in Toronto, like every day I had to stay in traffic for 2-3 hours. So you just imagine if I had a daughter that time, I couldn't handle it. How can I do it? Like putting your baby in childcare for a few hours is enough, because then you have to take care of her, you have to play with her, spend time together. Then I see there are lots of parents, they work for hours, they come home very tired, they don't have time to play, they don't have time to spend time with their kids. So what kind of life is this? That's the thing I always ask. So that's why I was looking for something to be more flexible. And no, that's what I'm doing. See?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, see, like, yeah, like we just said.
That's one.
But
We
that's
can
okay
still
though, because,
talk.
huh?
Yeah, we can still talk. Hi, Jeffrey. How are you?
Yes.
Are toy
Okay.
room.
Okay, you go in there and play, honey.
Okay.
And then there's days that I've got, because he's got his extra special needs, which is okay, because I'm just like, this is like what were talking about. So it was perfect.
This is real parenting.
You're
Well,
not
sometimes in the middle of interview, I have the same situation. My daughter, I'm doing the potty training for my daughter, and one day in the interview, I just remember she brought her potty in interview. I said, no, 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 go. That was so funny. So that's the real life of parents and moms, and that's the real show, right? Well, what
it
we
is.
show them, that's parenting. Yeah.
Except I'm very, very blessed. I got the other four with my husband right now, because I'm like, I got one. He's got the other four, so we're good. But yeah, it's true though, because like as a parent, it's one of those balances, like what you said, 3 hours in a vehicle, 2 to 3 hours in a vehicle, or taking and being able to be with you all the time. So it's like, as a parent, you've got to make that choice of, well, what's going to bring me joy and happiness to be able to be with my child more? Or do I put them, on the road for a couple hours with me to be able to go to work and then, be able to travel and do all of these other things? And I agree, this is much easier. At least for me, it was. And like
Yeah,
for you as
exactly. Like
well.
what I do right now in the
Mhm.
morning, I try to wake up earlier, and that's really perfect because I have a silent time to work. So I'll work for 2-3 hours in the morning. Then she gets up, and then we have some play together. Then we have breakfast. Then she, after some playing, she goes and watch her screen time for 1 hour, and then I have another 1 hour to work. Then we had our lunch, play together for a while. You see, I can adjust it. So when when I have interview, my husband comes home and he actually take care of the baby. And then at night, I try to stay awake for a few hours, 1-2 hours, and then I work. You see, this way I can work at least for 5 hours per day. So I
That's nice
adjust it
then.
yeah, I adjust it sometime somehow. I mean, if you really want and really have some desire to work and do something, yes, you can. Even with a baby 3-year-old. I don't know if I had another one, I had the same situation or not, but still, I mean, I'm okay right now.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you it's been one of those like I've told many people many times. I'm like, it's one of those days that it's sometimes I'm still trying to figure out what end is up because it's like yesterday I was quick move, do different things, like I had homeschooling that I'm doing now too. And I'm just like, okay, we'll just add that to my list. But that's okay because that can be my morning because it's nobody wants to have me like in the morning anyways for like the hypnosis and helping them with their life change. But it's like me, I'm like, I'm not ready for that until at least noon. 1 o'clock, I'm good and on. But like the rest of the time, I'm like, no, I need that morning. It's something about morning. It's just like it feels better with like the kids, but I tried to do that like the 4:30 and getting up that early. I can't do that now without the
4:30 in the
kids.
morning? No, no
Ah,
way.
I tried to do that because a lot of
No,
like, no, you're
no, I can't
successful
do
if
this.
you can get up. And I'm
I
like,
think parents, especially moms, should have a complete sleep, like full sleep. I know my daughter sometime called me in the middle of the night, and the full day, I mean, whole day, I can't perform properly. So that's the problem. When she doesn't sleep properly the whole day for me, so I try to compensate my sleep. So sleep for me is so important.
it
I
is.
should have full sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Sleep is very important. And like me, that's why I said some days I'm like, I can get a little bit more sleep. That's why I'm like, I gave up on trying to do that 4:30. That's when people say you're the most successful in life and all this other stuff. And I'm like, not with all the kids I got. It just doesn't fly in my house. I figure, you know what? If I'm at the house or not at the house, at the office by 7 Central Time, I'm like, I'm okay. I'm good. But I don't like I don't start doing like the actual, like the hypnotizing and the work that I do until at least 1 o'clock Central Time because I'm like, forget it for now because it just doesn't work because you do have to find that happy balance as a mom to be able to manage life, the work, the household, and helping others. And so I'm glad that Jeffrey came in because I'm like, this is real life, like what you said. This
Exactly.
is
That
this is how it is. And it's like, like, how do you manage that life of the work and the household chores, still doing everything else? And then like we don't have daycare either. Like we wouldn't never be able to afford it, but not
yeah.
even that. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. And for any daycare to take on all my kids, they would say like, we need triple our pay.
Yes.
Just saying, boys are a whole different ball game than girls. I'm just saying they're just. I love my kids. That's all I can say is that I love them. They definitely pushed me to be, like I said in the beginning, is they are definitely one of those that is just like, I thought I knew life, and then I had kids, and then I realized, what am I going to do with my husband when they get older and we're like, there's no kids? But that's okay.
Yes.
I'll focus on this part, enjoying it right now.
Yeah. We should enjoy it. Any moment of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is nice that you're able to do that too. So then how do you find that time, to be able to play with your daughter then?
Yeah,
Do you
I
just
told
like
you
have
I
a set schedule?
yeah, I told you I my morning is schedule, and I try to find like 5 hours per day to work, and then rest of it. I know even now is not enough because baby need a playmate, right? Your
Yes.
babies have this option to play together, but I'm hoping I can put her in daycare in September, then she can play with other kids too.
Oh, that'll be nice then for her
Yes,
too.
yes.
So then what methods have you found to be the most effective for your clients in treating the PTSD and or the fertility?
I have a very narrow niche. I work only with women who have PTSD or fertility issues. So, what I'm doing, I have an assessment to see if they have any childhood trauma in the past. And then, because I know the childhood trauma can affect fertility and can actually create a lot of symptoms in your body. So that's what I do. Like, functional medicine educator. So I really believe in holistic medicine. All of your body, any pieces of your body should be aligned, and is not only physical. Your emotional state should be in rest. You should be happy. You should have some creative thing to do, something that activate your pineal gland and your brain, because as soon as you start creating, you produce something, and that actually can activate your reproductive function. So you say reproductive, right? It
Mm-hmm.
comes producing and creating something. So that's what I help them, and I have a master class in August 25th. They can find it in my website, panteakalhor.com. And what I do there, I actually talk about my own method, how holistic medicine can help fertility. And it's not that I'm not against the medical, because I have a lot of medical doctors in my own podcast. What I believe is the connection between mind and body. So if you're gonna take any treatment, any medical treatment, if your mind doesn't accept it, if your spiritually are not really is not really aligned for you, so it doesn't go well. So that's what I'm saying. Like, your mind and body should be connected, and we try to find this connection, because, as I said, with stress and with emotional problems, you can easily create a lot of dis-ease. I'm not saying disease, I'm saying dis-ease in your body. So you can actually create a lot of imbalance in your body. You can create a lot of symptoms that comes from your body when it's not comfortable. So as soon as you find some peace in your body, then the baby starts thinking, oh, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna grow there. That's the point. The baby starts growing, the baby starts feel that this womb is good for her, she can stay there. So if you have a lot of emotional problem, she doesn't feel safe to stay and come. That's why there are lots of miscarriages. Lots of miscarriages happen is not only because of physical problem, but because of PTSD, because of all the feeling that we have. We are distressed. We don't want to feel happy, or we have lots of things that should be processed in our body.
Which that makes sense because I'm even thinking about like my own miscarriage that I had, before I had any of the other kids that are here, and yeah, that would make some sense a little bit like in my case, but I do agree with some of it for the miscarriage because a lot of those issues can affect whether or not we get pregnant and
Mhm.
whether or not we can successfully carry out pregnancy. And it's not saying that's for everybody, it's the same way because there are some people who get pregnant no problem, but it's the ones that are like us that are like, why isn't it happening? Like, what's stopping us? So it's more for those type people that were like, this is something you can do. So then what are some tips that you have that people can start getting on their path to wellness now?
Yeah, they have to start having the regular exercise that the doctor, they have to consult with the doctor, because some exercise are not good. They shouldn't be very heavy, shouldn't be really affect your fertility process. But anyway, because to me the background of exercise is not just being healthy, because it creates movement. Your body know that it should move. Your body know that it can go to higher position, and you can actually have a better more high level healthy status in your body. So, and then of course diet is good. Have a good
Yes.
diet. But what I do always, because I do the full assessment with my patients, I get, not everybody is recommended to have the same food, because they may have some food sensitivity, so they cannot take the same food that I take. A lot of people have, because of their body constitution, they may be sensitive to some food, so they shouldn't take it. So there are lots of contributors in your health. So my diet recipe maybe is not good for you, maybe it's good for someone else. So you see, that should be customized. So I never generalize it, but as a general, of course, you have to have whole wheat um, bread, or you can have you shouldn't have dairy product, because it creates a lot of inflammation. That's what I realized in my own fertility journey. I completely remove dairy product from my diet. And yeah, lots of vegetables, and have a lot of water, but water should be clean. So, and there are lots of things beside it, because maybe you are living in a very toxic environment. Toxic,
Hmm.
not only but the mold that you may have. So you should have some people coming to your house, see, get some consultation if there is any mold toxicity. Or is not only toxicity because of mold, you may have a lot of toxic relationship, a lot of people around you maybe may actually cause a lot of negative situation for you, so you have to remove them from your life. So try to be relaxed, happy, and try to create the life you want, and try to do something that you're really passionate about. So one of the problem my clients have, because they work, they have lots of workload. They don't like the work they do, and
Hmm.
so that's why I always recommend go and find something that you're passionate. If even if they have to do the same job every day, they can still find something artistic, something like painting, something like journaling. That's gonna help them to activate their brain and be saying they can discover a lot of way in their body to heal. So a lot of healing opportunities.
Which that makes a lot of sense, especially like with the getting that mind and body in sync with each other. That's the part that makes it huge, especially to achieve conception and the overall healing process itself. So, where is the best way, or what's the best way for people to be able to contact you? They want to be able to learn more about how they can get started with you.
So they have two options. First, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Transition Channel, Pantea Kalhor Transition Channel, and I have podcasts, Transition by Pantea Kalhor. So if they prefer just listen to it or watch it, they have options because I have different shows.
Mhm.
On Tuesday, I have fertility shows. They can listen on Tuesday's shows. And I also have a playlist for fertility empowerment show. They can go to the playlist and watch and listen. If they want, they can actually make an appointment with me. There, I have an appointment calendar on my website panteakalhor.com, and there is a Facebook group, Fertility Empowerment group, that they can actually join. I always upload any tips about fertilities, or whenever I interview any fertility experts, they can go and watch it. I also have, as I say, August 25, I have a master class, which is going to be very valuable because it's free. They can listen and watch and join us for having more effective connection with fertility, and their problem, and hopefully they can find the missing puzzle of their fertility problem.
Well, that sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much, Pente, for being on here. Really appreciate your time and your energy and all this, and our viewers as well as our listeners that they're listening in on the podcast. So thank you so much. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our audience has too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Robin.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.